that's all that it is. If there's a sense of something wants to be heard, then it comes out. Yeah, hopefully. Maybe it won't this time. But, you know, I was thrown in that position when I first got sober. Somebody asked me if I would start leading a workshop, yeah, on the 4th step in recovery, 12 steps. And I had to do it every Monday night. I did it for 19 years, pretty much. So that's a lot of Monday nights. Anytime I was in the country, I did this meeting. So I don't know how many, over 1,000, I guess, yeah? And my batting average was 1,000, yeah? Because I never showed up. You know what I mean? I just sat there, and because my mind had become identified with something bigger than itself, which was AA in this terminology, it was apt to be open to something happening that it wouldn't have been open to before. So I just sat down, and something would always come out. Yeah? No matter if I was destitute that night, or my fairy princess just broke up with me like 5 minutes before the meeting started, or I was sick as a dog. It had nothing to do with any kind of circumstance or condition. It would just be put out there, yes? And then in the beginning, it would end very quickly. Like at 61 minutes, after the 60 minutes, then I'd feel sick again and everything. Usually worse, actually, than when I walked in. But then after a while, it just stretched out, where this it was like this, the presence was the same before the meeting, during the meeting, and after the meeting, yeah? And it just started stretching out. Yeah. So it wasn't an event anymore, nor was it triggered by anything. It was just a possibility that had been entertained. Yeah. The head entertained. The dilemma is all of us have the ability to entertain. We're entertaining quite a lot right now. We're entertaining that we're a long-lasting, independent, separate entity. We're entertaining that we're a body. Yeah. And when the mind, I'm not talking about conditioned mind, I'm talking about mind. When the mind entertains that it's a self, yes, a long-lasting, independent, separate entity, then all of its entertaining is now defined by the self. Yeah? So it can't entertain being okay right now. It can only entertain I will be okay later, based on something happening or doing something or someone else doing something for you. Yes? Everything, all the solutions immediately become time-based. There's not an immediacy anymore. It has to have something to do with you to go get something and do something or stop doing something for a result to occur. Yes? That's all out of a system called selfing. Yeah? The solution is timeless. It doesn't take any time for this to come to pass because it never came and it never passes. Yeah? It's always available at all times with no requirement necessary to meet it. None whatsoever. Yeah? It's just the ability to entertain it. So what we did is instead of trying to entertain it as a self, because that will define what you're entertaining. So let's say you entertain the idea of awakeness or enlightenment. Yeah? Immediately, the self is taking this to be a subject, yes? So then enlightenment becomes an object to you as a subject. That's not what enlightenment is, yeah? Or awakeness is a thing that you're going to get and is going to bring you an advantage. That's not what it is. What we're attempting to contact is no-thingness. Yeah? It's not a conception. We don't want a conception of enlightenment, because if it's a conception of enlightenment, it's going to be the idea of enlightenment from selfing. Yes? And that ain't enlightening at all. It's bonding. I just talked to someone today on the phone. They were totally fine about 3 years ago, and then they heard a teaching about enlightenment, and they've just been driven crazy ever since, because it became the golden carrot. Yeah. And see, let's say your head has like a noble spiritual bent, yes? You're selfing. So if that's the case, let's say there's meditation. There's something called meditation that you're going to do. Yeah? Now, if you have a noble idea about spirituality, then meditation will probably mean a lot more to you than, let's say, washing the dishes. Yeah? So you immediately want to speed through washing the dishes to get to the seat to meditate, thinking that when you meditate, there's something available that isn't available when you're washing dishes. Yeah? That causing it to be specifically available based on you or what you do is the conceptualization of no-thingness. No-thingness is always available at all times, with no requirement necessary. You cannot achieve it. You cannot plug yourself into it, because it's prior to any unplugging or plugging. It's always so. Yeah? It's, in a way, a weird example of it would be in physicality. Yes? We go over this a lot, but I bet you didn't go into a cafe today, anywhere, and heard people complaining about the effects of gravity. Did you? Did you get that? Was there like in the paper they have a pollen count, or the air quality of gravity, very heavy today. Don't stand under any big heavy branches, they may lay on you, whatever. Yeah? No. But in fact, it's affecting us as a physicality all day. Yeah? Because it's affecting us all day, it's not noticed. Yeah? So no thing isn't noticed by a thing. Yeah? It's not noticed by a thing. When a thing entertains no thing, it makes it a something. It conceptualizes it. It gives it an idea. It makes it, okay, it's like a breakfast cereal box. It has no cereal in it. It's just got the box. So it says, I have Wheaties, but there's no nutrition from that, having Wheaties. There's no Wheaties in the box. It's just a box, yes? That's what a concept is like. You have a concept of spirituality. It's like an empty box. There's nothing in it. All you do is you have to pour more concepts into it. And so now you're getting used to be feeding on concepts, and the mind is in a total denial of its dissatisfaction. It can't admit that it's not working the way it's figuring things out, because it wants to be right. But you're empty. You're dissatisfied. There's an irritable restlessness and discontent. And because you're not feeling it, just means your mind's pretty good at denying it. Yeah? So this is like, okay, I don't want to entertain peace. I want to entertain what I'm not. Yeah? Just entertain that I may not be a long-lasting, independent, separate entity. When I entertain that, and it comes to pass that that's true, yes, that's entertaining peace. Because peace is the absence of someone having peace. Yeah? Because if there's someone who has peace, there'll be someone who can lose peace. And that's not peace. Peace would be like an acquired object, and there'd be a lot of mental worry about it. When am I going to fuck it up? When am I going to not do what produced this? I mean, I've got to meditate every day now. If I miss a meditation, I got to rush home and make it up. Hopefully I can do it at lunchtime, because I don't want my day to go totally down the tubes. So, all right, rush home. All right, I did my meditation. Who's playing God then? Yeah? Who plays God with God? Your head. Yeah? And if you know the book of recovery, the how and why of the whole program, which is a pretty comprehensive statement about any program, right? The how and why of it. The how and why of it is to quit playing God. It doesn't work. So it's important to me to recognize what is playing God and what it looks like, the playing God. Yeah? Now it's obvious that when you wake up in the morning, sometimes your head tells you how the day's going to be, doesn't it? It says, fuck it, it's going to be the same old, same old. I would say that's a form of playing God, yeah? Because if you've ever been in a day, it's funny how the cards are dealt by two different dealers, yeah? The mind wants to prophesize that it's going to be a sucky day before it even receives the first card, yeah? But life only gives you the 8 a.m. card at 8 a.m. You do not get to see the 4 p.m. card at 8 a.m. The head just wants to totally bypass that I don't know, and it wants to know by pontificating it's going to suck. Based on what? That it sucked in the past. Yes? So most of us are living an interpretation that just comes from a mental realm called the past, which tattoos every moment. And so instead of being in a state of I don't know, which causes you to find out, which is like being alive, yes? That's what being alive is to find out you know, which means the whole day's been neutered. Yeah? You don't find out because you already know. And the only evidence you want to find out about is what supports you knowing. Yeah? So it's all an interpretation. And then there's an ache or a lack of feeling alive, and of course the mind gives us a solution to that. let's say if you're in recovery, let's say Monday you go to work